The movie begins with Captain William D. Staniforth, a man on the brink of an extraordinary journey. It's the final countdown before his historic mission to Mars. He will be the first man on Earth, and Captain Emily will soon follow him to set up a base for future colonizers. The journey will take 270 days. Now, in these crucial last hours, William visits Louis Skinner, fondly known as Skinny, a man who plays a significant role in the mission. The moment finally arrives. William takes a deep breath and steps into the unknown, launching into space. The powerful engines roar as the spacecraft, named Zephyr, tears away from the Earth's comforting grip and into the vastness of space.
One-way mission, but I'm not going there to die. I'm going to Mars.
Once he's safely past the Earth's atmosphere, William sends a radio message back to Skinny, making sure everything on the ship is functioning correctly. Then, under Skinny's guidance, he starts preparing to run some important diagnostic tests. As time passes, William settles into his new life aboard the Zephyr. After checking on one of the ship's machines, he makes himself a simple meal. Despite the strange surroundings, he tries to maintain a sense of normalcy by performing experiments and sticking to a routine. But as the silence of space closes in, William's thoughts begin to drift. He starts recording his feelings and thoughts about the mission and life in general in a diary. That night, sleep eludes him. 12 days into the mission, William is back at work on his most important invention. Just as he's deep in the work, Skinny calls, interrupting him. This time, Skinny asks William to participate in a PR segment with students from various schools. The children's questions are filled with curiosity, and William patiently explains the mission's logistics and the vital role of the water converter. As he talks, memories flood back to when he first tested the converter in the harsh environment of the Atacama Desert. Days passed with nothing but failure, but William's determination never wavered. Eventually, his hard work paid off, and the machine started working perfectly. After the PR segment, William returns to his diary, writing about Mars as a new beginning for humanity. He continues practicing what sounds like a manifesto, a set of beliefs he's formed during his time on the ship. Later, Skinny calls again, this time asking about the weather on Mars. The conversation shifts to the mission's risks, but William brushes off the danger, calling it a calculated risk. Another flashback takes us to the desert, where William arrives at his base of operations and is greeted by Skinny. William excitedly shares the success of the water converter, confident that they can now make the mission to Mars a reality. Skinny, however, remains skeptical, but William's enthusiasm is unwavering. Back on the ship, William spends time reviewing interviews with potential candidates for the next mission to Mars. These interviews reveal the hopes and dreams of those who will follow in his footsteps. Afterward, Skinny calls again, informing William about an upcoming supply depot. At the depot, William meets Greenstreet, a man who has been on the mission for some time. William gives him one of the plants he's been growing aboard the Zephyr. Greenstreet sadly mentions that his garden died early in the mission. William is then introduced to another man named Worsley, who is also on the supply ship. William takes some time to explore the supply ship and notices signs of wear and tear on many parts of the ship. He and Worsley talk about the hardships they've faced during their time in space. Days pass, and William watches as Greenstreet plays an instrument, serenading his daughter back home. But then, Greenstreet surprises William with a stark suggestion: abort the mission. He tries to pass it off as a joke, but there's a serious undertone to his words. He doesn't understand why William would want to stay in space after the mission when he could return to Earth. William, however, seems detached, saying that he's seen enough of Earth, where everything feels ruined. Greenstreet felt William's cowardness, so he calls me a callous prick. Their conversation is shortly interrupted again by Skinny, who brings news of Emily Maddox. William and Greenstreet watch the launch together, with Worsley joining them. As the rocket soars into the sky, Greenstreet becomes emotional. William, sensing his friend's distress, tries to offer comfort, but Greenstreet pulls away, lost in his thoughts. Worsley, sensing something, warns William not to venture outside into space, as if he knows something ominous is about to happen.
We don't know, Stanford. Don't go out there thinking we do.
But William, ever determined, continues on his journey to Mars. We next see him giving another video interview, this time sharing memories of his life, especially a moment when an experience on the moon deeply affected him. He talks about the profound loneliness he felt and how it made him question everything about life. On the 41st day of his mission, William is once again maintaining his precious water converter when he notices something wrong with it. After another day of his routine, making a meal, exercising, he starts to see that the ship is becoming dirty, a sign of how long he's been in space. That night, he reflects on his interactions with Worsley and Greenstreet. Their spirits seem to have dimmed, and William notes that they've lost hope in the mission, a shadow that now hangs over them all. On the 57th day of his journey, William encounters a serious problem. His water converter begins to malfunction. He quickly grabs his toolbox and, with careful precision, manages to repair the machine. For the moment, the crisis is averted, but the challenges of space travel soon intrude on his peace of mind as William is jolted awake by a nightmare. Disturbed, he reaches out to Emily, desperate to share the unsettling dream. However, Emily reminds him that it's late, and with a heavy heart, William ends the call. As time goes by, William receives messages from his family back on Earth, congratulating him on his birthday. The warmth of their words provides a brief respite from the isolation he feels. To occupy his mind, he tries to learn Spanish and tends to the plants he has been growing on the ship. But his attempts to connect with others falter. His calls to Emily and Skinny go unanswered, heightening his sense of loneliness. Finally, after several attempts, Skinny responds, and William expresses his relief.
Is everything okay? What happened?
I tried to reach Maddox, and then you and...
However, Skinny brings unsettling news about Emily, revealing that she's veered off course. An argument erupts between Emily and Skinny over the malfunction, and despite Skinny's orders to stand down, William insists on helping. Ignoring the risks, he guides Emily through the necessary repairs, and together they manage to fix the issue. Emily's gratitude is palpable, but the tension lingers. Days turn into weeks, and William continues his routine of interviewing potential candidates for future Mars missions. By the 66th day, the monotony of space travel begins to wear on him. Although he performs his daily tasks, a growing sense of frustration gnaws at him. He checks on his experimental plants and sprays bottles of earthly scents to evoke memories of home, but nothing seems to quell the restlessness within him. One sleepless night, William spots a solar flare outside the ship, forcing him to retreat to a safe area, further exacerbating his anxiety. On the 81st day, disaster strikes again. William's water converter malfunctions once more. He runs diagnostics, but in his haste, he accidentally blows a fuse, contaminating his precious drinking water. With the machine out of commission, William is now forced to ration his dwindling water supply. That night, as he peers out into the vastness of space, the darkness feels suffocating. He continues to struggle with repairs, but his efforts seem futile. Skinny checks in, concerned about the converter, but William, unwilling to admit defeat, lies, assuring Skinny that everything is fine. The mounting frustrations take a toll on William. He is at a loss for how to fix the converter, and in a moment of desperation, he attempts another repair, but something snaps, and the machine breaks once again, causing an injury to William. Later that night, Skinny suggests he take some medication to sleep, but the news Skinny delivers next shatters William. Emily's mission has been aborted. Skinny urges William to stay focused and keep his sanity, but this only deepens William's anger. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Skinny reminisces about their time together in the desert and confirms that Emily is indeed returning home, leaving William to face the remainder of his mission alone. Sleep eludes William once more, and he finds himself staring out into the void. His water supply is now dangerously low, and he watches helplessly as his experimental plants begin to wither. Even the ship's air conditioner has given out, leaving him in an increasingly hostile environment. Desperation drives him to use his decaying plants in a last-ditch attempt to create water, but the situation is dire. As he continues to toil over the broken converter, a sudden light catches his eye, a brief, mysterious glow outside the window.
Hope is out there.
It vanishes as quickly as it appeared, leaving William to wrestle with his fraying sanity. Eventually, he manages to get the machine running again, but it fails to produce clean water, further deepening his despair. By the 161st day, William's struggle to survive has become almost unbearable. Skinny calls and immediately notices William's deteriorating health and the chaotic state of the ship. When William finally admits that the converter is beyond repair, Skinny is shocked. Protocol demands that William return to Earth, but Skinny asks if there's anything that can be done to avoid this fate. William, however, is resigned to his situation. He continues to watch interviews with potential mission candidates, all the while documenting in his diary that he is in over his head. In a moment of raw honesty, he records a reflection on his time in the desert and a near-death experience before he got his machine to work. He confesses to having developed a strange love for the feeling of dying, a sentiment that ultimately drove him to take on this perilous journey to Mars.
I love the feeling of dying.
It becomes clear that William is on the brink of a mental breakdown. His behavior grows increasingly erratic as he lashes out at the ship's interior, venting his frustration and despair. That night, Skinny calls again, instructing William to prepare for his return flight home. But as more days pass, it's evident that William is nearing the end of his journey. The ship continues to deteriorate, and though William doggedly follows his daily routines, they feel increasingly pointless. He persists in trying to repair the converter, but with each passing day, his supplies dwindle, his hope fades, and his health declines. William grapples with overwhelming grief, boredom, and madness, even contemplating ending his life in the cold expanse of space.
I want to get out there.
Then, in a moment of eerie calm, William hears Skinny's voice over a monitor that had been silent for some time. Skinny warns of an incoming magnetic storm, urgently seeking any sign of life from William. Though Skinny can't hear William's response, he informs him that he's close to his original destination. As the storm approaches, William, who had drifted into a troubled sleep, suddenly awakens. The ship is engulfed in the storm, and everything inside begins to float, including William.
Why don't we dissolve?
He watches in awe as the surreal phenomena unfold around him. Finally, William reaches Mars, the culmination of his arduous journey. He suits up, preparing to take his first steps on the alien surface. As he radios mission control, signaling his readiness to land, he meticulously follows the diagnostic landing sequence. The ship enters Mars's atmosphere, and William carefully guides it down to the surface. When the landing is complete, William steps out of the ship, feeling the weight of this momentous achievement. He walks across the barren landscape, the vast, empty terrain stretching out before him. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.